My name is Shubham Mehta and I am AWS Certified Solutions Architect. Okay, so today the agenda, as you all might already be aware of, is like why everyone is moving to cloud. Okay, what are the basic aspects on which we are looking? Let me tell you that we'll be looking that why cloud is important, why in especially 2021, I'll say is the year which brought cloud into I'll say in the limelight, that everyone got attracted to cloud and people are now actually moving to cloud. Companies are now switching their infrastructure, they are shifting, they are migrating their entire architecture onto the cloud. Which all are the major cloud, I'll say, providers that are famous right now, which one you should see. Okay, so this is all the agenda. Mainly we'll also be seeing like which cloud, like there are various clouds, there is Oracle, AWS, IBM, right, Azure, GCP. So which one you should focus if you are a beginner, then which cloud you should start with, which certification you should opt for. Okay, so which certification, if you'll only opt, which can be enough for your other certifications as well, which will what are the, I'll say, the way to go through this, the part we'll discuss. Okay, we'll also see some hands-on, I'll show you some hands-on, very basic, like how you can create a virtual machine, how you can create instance in AWS. I'll show you a little glimpse of Azure as well. Okay, so this is all that we are going to do. We'll wait for let's say 2-3 minutes. Till then I'm just giving the introduction. After that we'll start with our concepts. Okay, meanwhile you can, whatever doubts you have, you can just ask it in the chat. Okay, we'll be taking it. Okay, and we have our team as well, they'll be replying you as anyways. So yeah, this is the agenda, right? I hope everyone is clear with the agenda. Like the main agenda is what is cloud computing. Okay, why it is getting so famous, and that's actually true. I'll say the COVID has brought a greater impact on the companies, has brought a greater influence over the people to migrate towards the cloud. Okay, after that, what problems does cloud computing solve? Right, there are thousands of problem, I'll say, that cloud computing has solved. Is there any disadvantage also on moving to cloud? We'll try to see that as well. Okay, now what are the various types of cloud models and service model? You might have heard about it: IaaS, SaaS, PaaS, like SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. These all things we'll be discussing a little bit. Now, what are the top cloud service providers? Okay, we will be seeing this as well. Okay, now top cloud service providers, when we talk about now, who is the market leading topper in the cloud market? Okay, like who is the leader in the cloud? Okay, we'll be seeing that, and why it is the leader and why others are not on that top, on that height. We'll be seeing that as well. Okay, now in the end we'll be seeing, understanding like some major services, right? That are some major services like VM means virtual machine, storage, and IAM. Storage, I hope you all know, it's like Google Drive. Okay, similarly we have other drives in the cloud as well, we'll be seeing that as well. Now IAM, what is IAM? IAM is nothing but it's the administrator control. The full form of IAM is identity access management. So we'll be seeing all these things. Okay, so fine, I think it's high time to start now. Okay, so yeah, I hope everyone is able to see my slide as well. Okay, so the agenda is very clear. Now, what is cloud computing, right? This is a very huge question. I think everyone must be getting this question, like what is cloud computing and why cloud computing, right? Like why exactly cloud computing? So if I am a layman and if I don't know anything, okay, if I don't know anything, like what is cloud computing, then the first thing that comes into my mind listening to cloud computing is Google Drive, storage. Is that correct? I mean, if I'm a complete layman, if I listen a word cloud, I'll say, okay, you mean storage? You mean Google Drive, or you mean like some kind of storage thing? This is what you mean? So this is what cloud meaning is there, like implanted in people's mind, that listening to cloud, they straight away say, okay, storage, you mean I can store my photos on cloud. So I'm using cloud and I know what is cloud. But we all tend to ignore this word that is computing. Okay, we tend to ignore this word that is computing. Okay, so computing is a word which means a lot of extra, not just storage, but a lot of things. Okay, so if I say computing, okay, so computing means whatever operations that I'm doing on my normal system, whatever operations that I'm ready to do on my normal system, including gaming, including movie watching, including photo editing, internet browsing, whatever I'm doing, okay, everything is included in cloud computing. So every operation that I can do on my local system, that I can do on my laptop, if the same operation I can do on cloud as well, so I'll call it cloud computing. So let's take a, I mean, understanding on this, like, let's have an understanding on this, like cloud computing does not only mean storage. Storage is just one part out of hundreds of services. Okay. Out of hundreds of services. Okay. So that is just not this. Okay. Trust me, in the end of the session, I'll ask this question again. And I'm sure, like, I'm not just sure, I'm 100% sure that you will have the answer in your mind yourself. You will have an answer in your mind. You may not be able to explain to others, but you will understand what is cloud computing. That is my promise. Okay, fine, perfect. So that is cloud computing, right? So we know now what is the cloud computing. Basics we know. Okay, basics, I'll repeat again. Whatever operation that I can do on my normal system, okay, including gaming, movie watching, like photo editing, I told you, right? Whatever operation that you do on your normal local system, if the same thing you can do it on cloud, we call it cloud computing. Okay, now why is it getting so famous, right? This is a very, I mean, interesting question, right? So I think we all know, like, what happened in 2020 and what is still happening in 2022 as well. So that thing is still continuing. Like from 21st of March, that was the time in India. Okay, if I talk about abroad, then December or November in 2019, the first case came in Wuhan. Okay, and similarly, like the COVID kept on growing and growing and growing, and suddenly the companies kept on like closing, work started remotely, and companies thought, okay, I'll give you a very good example. Okay, listen to me carefully. Okay, imagine a company that was, I'll say, inaugurated in 2018. Okay, imagine that company got started in 2018. It made a very good profit. Okay, it made a very good profit in 2018. Okay, in 19 they earned a lot. Okay, now since seeing a lot of profit, what the company thought, let's buy a new building. So in 2020 they bought a new building and they set up the entire floor with the new systems, with the new servers, everything was there. Okay, suddenly what happened, the COVID came, everyone went their homes, right? Everyone went their home and everything got closed, right? People started working remotely. So now you tell me, you ask yourself this question, don't you think so all those new systems which were there, all those new systems are now like just kept in like of no use, but their servers need to be maintained, their maintenance must be done, otherwise they are of no use, otherwise they will be of waste, they will have to be maintained. So these maintenance charge, their service charge, their service, their maintenance, their repairing, like whatever, like, or maybe I'll say the billing or the rent or the due, whatever you are paying, isn't that something that is useless? From past almost 2 years it is. I remember from past 2 years, I mean before 2 years in March this thing started and it's now March again. So from 2 years this thing is happening, and the companies which are having such systems and servers, don't you think so, why to pay that money, right? Until you are not working on premise, you are not working like from the office, so why to pay money for that? So this problem cloud has solved. How it has solved and how efficiently this problem has been solved by cloud, we'll see that. Okay, so this is the main reason, like companies getting losses. Okay, they are, I mean, they're incurring losses, companies are incurring losses just because of this reason, that people are working remotely but they have to pay money even for their local systems. So cloud has solved this problem, that people are now not working, I mean, on premise, they're working remotely, so pay for only what you use. So the main reason, and why exactly this is, let's see this. So why is it getting so famous? We have these things. Okay, why is it getting so famous? So we have 4 features I can show you. Okay, this is cost, reliability, collaboration, flexibility, and scalability. Okay, now the term flexibility is very important to understand. Okay, now I'll tell you what flexibility is. Okay, so imagine a system, like you need 5 systems at once and suddenly you need 10 systems. Okay, this is the thing, like today you need 5 systems and tomorrow you need 10 systems. So are you going to buy that 10 systems again, or you are going to keep 10 systems ready always? So how exactly you are going to do? Now I'll give you an example. Imagine the company KFC. Okay. Imagine the company KFC, right? So KFC gives offer on every Wednesday. Okay. KFC gives option. I mean, I'll say that sorry, the coupons or the vouchers or the offs on every Wednesday. So what usually happens for KFC on normal days, there are, let's say, around 1,000 customers on their website daily. Okay, on normal days, except Wednesday. But especially on Wednesday, they have around, let's say, 5,000 customers. Okay, this is normal, right? I hope everyone will be able to relate this. That on normal days, there is around 1,000 customers, but on Wednesday, they have around 5,000 customers. Now you tell me the load that CPU is getting, that load on 1,000 people and 5,000 people will be obviously different, correct? If I have 1,000 people on my website visiting, so that load compared to 5,000 people visiting my website will obviously be different, right? So in this scenario, my CPU utilization will be higher on Wednesday. So if my CPU utilization is higher, I need more powerful processors. I need more powerful cores, or I'll say I need more core CPUs. Like I need not just one virtual CPU or two virtual CPU. I might even need 8 virtual CPUs or 16 virtual CPUs, right? So that depends upon what load my CPU has to incur. Okay. So imagine if on Wednesday, the KFC website needs 5 virtual CPUs, and on normal days, the KFC website needs only 3 virtual CPUs or 2 virtual CPUs. So do you think which is a better option? I mean, do you think KFC should buy 5 virtual CPUs and keep it running every day? Now, just for one day, that is Wednesday, can KFC, do you think it is a good option in the terms of cost that KFC should keep on running 5 virtual CPUs every day? I don't think that's, I mean, something that we can think of, right? So this is absolutely not a good option to keep 5 virtual CPUs running every day. Okay, that's not a good option. So what is a good option? That on normal days like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if you need only 2 virtual CPUs, so only run 2 virtual CPUs. Only on Wednesday, bring extra 3 virtual CPUs. So do you think this is practically possible on on-premise, that you keep on bringing the servers on rent and again return it on the next day? It's not possible. So this thing is known as flexibility, that if you need more servers suddenly, so on Wednesday, just increase your servers. If you need less servers on some, like let's say Friday or Thursday, where customers are very less, so even reduce it from 2 to 1. So this is flexibility. Okay. Or you can call, same thing is like scalability, the capacity to be changed. Okay. Like when we can change the capacity in terms of size or in terms of like power, whatever you say, we call it scalability. These things can be scalable. There are two types of scaling. One is vertical scaling, one is horizontal scaling. Okay. These things will be more clear once you start these courses and once you start learning these things. So vertical scaling and horizontal scaling, if I say, then if you are increasing the power of a single system, right? If you are increasing the power of a single system, like let's imagine your laptop, without even seeing, I'm telling, it is having 8 GB RAM and 1 TB hard disk. Okay. Let's say i5 processor, 7th generation. Okay. i5 processor, 8th generation, 10th generation, whatever it is, with 1 TB RAM, with 1 TB hard disk and 8 GB RAM. Now, if I want to do the vertical scaling, what I'll do, I'll increase the capacity of my system only. That means what I'll do, I'll make the RAM of my system as, let's say, 16 GB. I'll make the hard disk of my system as, let's say, 2 GB, 2 TB. So this is vertical scaling. I'm making my system only powerful, right? So this is vertical scaling. Now, if I talk about horizontal scaling, so horizontal scaling means, what will I do? I will buy such more laptops like mine. Like if I have 8 GB RAM and 1 TB, I'll buy one more laptop of 8 GB RAM and 1 TB. Correct? So I'll buy one more laptop, or let's say 2 more laptop of 8 GB RAM. So altogether, if I buy 2 more laptops of 8 GB RAM and 1 TB hard disk, so my total capacity is 8 plus 8 plus 8, that is 24 GB RAM. And my total hard disk is 1 TB plus 1 TB plus 1 TB, that is around 3 TB total hard disk. So this is horizontal scaling. Imagine it on a table. If you have bought 3 laptops, so you will keep them side by side horizontally. So that is horizontal scaling. And imagine if you are making a single laptop powerful, So you will make the laptop powerful, and that is by increasing the capacity of the existing laptop. So imagine it growing vertically. So that is vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Now cost, obviously you are saving a lots of money in terms of cost. Okay, how we can say that? Like obviously, like if we say the cost of 5 virtual CPUs, just to give you an example. Okay, I'll show you AWS. Just a minute. In AWS, what happens? Okay, let me just show you. So here we have, okay, if I try to launch an instance, okay, you see, once you select any virtual machine, like, okay, let us try to create a virtual machine. So I'll just show you the virtual CPU. Okay, now let's say if you're creating a Windows operating system, okay, here 2019 base. So I'm creating a Windows operating system. So in the Windows operating system, the normal one are having one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM. Okay, now if we go down, let's say I need 4 virtual CPUs with 16 GB RAM. Now let's see the price of T2 dot extra large. Okay, T2 dot extra large. Okay, pricing. Okay, now you see here it is. Okay, if you see the prices, okay, here what one is on the free tier is this one. Okay, like this is on the free tier, but if you buy T2 dot extra large, the price is around 0.1856, which is a lot. I'll tell you 0.1856. Okay, let's say you are running it for 24 hours. Obviously, if you are running a server, so it is around $4.45 multiplied by 30. So that will be around $133.632 per month, and that is just the chip costs. Okay, if you see, you want to see it in the Indian price, so multiply with 74. So you are only paying 10,000 rupees just for the server. Okay, like for 4 virtual CPUs. And if you are using, let's say, T2.micro with one virtual CPU, which is having price of 0.007, okay, 1 year. So this will take us around 0.007 into 24 into 30, and that is equal to $5. And previous it was $133 multiplied by, let's say, 74 for Indian price. Okay, so that will take us around 372 rupees. This is for 1 month. So did you saw the cost difference? Like for one chip, I'm paying only around 400 rupees, or in dollars, only around $5. And for other chip, I'm paying around $133. That is around 10,000 rupees. So don't you think so? If you are paying 10,000 every day, I mean, if you are paying using that same chip for every day, so you are paying like 10,000 a month. But even if you are saving that 10,000 rupees in terms of 1 day per week, still you are going to save a lot of money. So this is the system that I want to make you understand, that this cost effectiveness is very high. If I need one server, I'll only use one server. If I need 4 servers, I'll use 4 servers. But if I don't need the extra 3 servers, I'll not pay the money. So pay as you go pricing model is being followed by all of them. Now reliability, obviously, if you talk about the reliability, then in terms of this, the cloud is very reliable. Okay, why I'm saying this? Because just to give you an example and insight, you all must have heard about Netflix, right? So do you know Netflix works on which server? Netflix runs on AWS. Okay, so that is the thing. Imagine this much powerful, like you can imagine, right, how huge Netflix is, right? How huge the database of Netflix can be, right? And that huge Netflix, and that also it is providing seamless streaming power, seamless streaming, and it all is done on like in a matter of seconds, right? And it is all done on AWS. So reliability, we can't even question AWS or cloud. Okay, like cloud is very reliable. Now collaboration, what exactly we mean by collaboration? So cloud is very good in terms of collaborating with, like I'll say, with other technologies. Okay, like you can easily work with other, like it is all supported. For example, you might have heard about the terms of Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, all these things, right? So if you want to combine any service, or let's say if you have a database that is on Oracle, okay, if you have a database that is, let's say, MySQL database, you can easily import that database on your cloud. Okay, these services are provided by it. So I'll say it's very collaborative. Now, what problem does cloud computing solve? Okay, obviously the high cost that we just saw, that you are paying 10,000 and you are paying 400 rupees, so that you might be easily able to understand that how exactly the problems of cloud computing is getting solved. Okay, now the limited access problem, right, and the flexibility problem, we all discuss these things. So these problems are solved by cloud computing, right? So cloud computing, I'll say the maintenance and server charge, let's say you have 10 different systems and you must need to keep, let's say you have 1000 systems. So do you think only one person can be able to like solve that server problem, if there is anything like that? Let me see the question. If you talk about cost, why does any company will hire a person who has done cloud computing courses? That's the cost to the company, right? If you talk about costs, why does any company will hire a person who has done cloud computing course? That's the cost to the company, right? I didn't get your question, Rahman, properly. Okay, like please reframe your question. See, if you know cloud computing, that does not mean that a company will hire you. You must be like super excelled in any of one cloud platform at least. Let's say AWS or Azure or GCP or Oracle. Okay, so or IBM, these type of any cloud, you must be certified. Okay, now these problems are solved there. Like I was asking a question: if there is 1000 systems, so how many people you propose that are required to maintain that 1000 servers? Tell me, how many people do you propose? All of you, just tell me in the chat. If you have 1000 servers, minimum how many people do you need to, let's say, maintain the entire server for the 1 month? You need at least 5 to 6 people. 5 to 6 people. You need at least 5 to 6 people, right? But in cloud computing, not just 1000, even 10,000 servers can be maintained hardly by 1 or 2 people. We call them site reliability engineer, system reliability engineer, SRE. Okay, so by doing these courses, I mean, or by getting certified, there are lots of options that gets opened in front of you. Let me tell you which all cloud jobs you can get. Okay, like which all like you can get. The first one is cloud engineer, DevOps engineer. Okay, solutions architect. After that, SRE. I'll write the full form: site reliability engineer. Then what else? Cloud engineer, DevOps engineer. Okay, then you have other roles as well. Okay, is there some question here? Okay, let me see the question. It costs to company, I mean. No, why company will cost? How it will cost to company? I mean, I didn't get your question. If you know how to manage the cost effectively, so why it will cost to company, right? So yeah, so that is the thing that we are discussing here. Now, what are the various types of cloud models, and why and under what circumstances horizontal scaling and vertical scaling takes place? Okay. See, horizontal scaling and vertical scaling, it is like, I'll say, there are advantages and disadvantages. I'll show you in AWS itself. Okay, like where do you do vertical scaling and where you do horizontal scaling and how exactly you do that. I'll show that there. Okay, then you'll understand yourself. Okay, now various service models like this is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. This is a very trendy question these days. In every interview, I'll say they ask you these questions, like tell me what is difference between IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. It's a very, I mean, I'll say a question that is asked in every interview almost. Okay. Now you see the IaaS. Okay. Now tell me, anybody. Okay, let's do this a little interactive way. All of you be active on chat. Okay. Now tell me, this AWS, Azure, GCP, these all will come under which of these models? Tell me. These all will come under which of these model? SaaS? Think and then say. Okay, SaaS, PaaS. Anybody please say IaaS also. So you all are correct in one way. Okay, all three is correct in one way. But if I talk only like AWS, as AWS will come under IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Okay, correct, Sridhar. AWS, Azure, GCP, they all will come under IaaS. Why? Because it is a host. AWS is providing you a platform or providing you a software which you are using. So AWS is a host. So AWS will come under IaaS. Now, any application you see, okay, any application, which provides you an infrastructure where, like, if a company, let's say your company is situated in a building that is maybe a Prestige Group building or a IndiQ building or a AMR Park building or like Salal Puria Staiva building. So these are like various buildings we see. So if your company is in that building, right? So that building is like an IaaS because that building you is providing infrastructure for your company. Okay. So whatever I'll say the resource says you are getting from the infrastructure which is providing, which is being provided by someone, we call it host, that is an IaaS. For example, AWS and Azure and these all cloud providers, they are providing you the infrastructure which you are using. So we will call them IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Now, on that, we are getting a platform, right? We are getting a platform. In that platform, I'm building a software. So the place where I will build something, like I am going to build a virtual machine on EC2. So EC2 will be like PaaS, a platform. Like on EC2, I'm going to build a virtual machine. So EC2 will be a platform where I'm going to build something. Now I am going to use my virtual machine. So that is like on my virtual machine, let's say I'm going to create an Nginx server or an Apache server. Okay. If I am having an Nginx server or an Apache server, then on that platform, I'm building it, right? I'm building it on EC2. EC2 is what? Elastic Cloud Computing, which is the term of AWS. So if I'm building a virtual machine, I'm building an Nginx server or an Apache server or any web application which is ready to be consumed by my users, that will now be called as SaaS. That is software as a service, SaaS. Okay. So this is platform where we build something, SaaS where we consume something, and infrastructure is a place where we get all these platforms and consuming things. Okay. Now, one thing keep in mind, you will understand everything, the rest of thing, that a user will only get PaaS and SaaS. A user will never get IaaS. Okay. Now, what I mean to say by this, like an end user will only get the PaaS or SaaS. Okay. Now, what are the top cloud service like cloud providers? Okay. The number one ranking, can anyone tell me which is the number one? Which is the number one cloud provider on the like world? Okay. Yes. The number one cloud provider is AWS. Correct. The number one cloud provider is AWS. Okay. In number two, we have Azure. Then we have GCP. What comes under middleware and OS? Middlewares are the like the, I'll say, when you are using something in between, right? I mean, middleware, if exactly I tell you what exactly is a middleware, okay. So see, there is something called like a client, right? We have a client, okay. And then we have a software. A client is using a software, okay. So middleware is like, I'll tell you, it is the provider, you can say, okay. It is a provider that enables or like, which is, see, listen, imagine in this way that there is some kind of service running on. So first imagine this, that service is running on operating system, correct? That service is running on operating system. Okay. What is Windows VM? Okay. That service is running on some operating system. So middleware will be the one which will be, it is like an application. Okay. It is like a software. Okay. It is like a software. Okay. Which provides whatever you are getting from the operating system. Okay. It is like that middleman. Okay. The name is also like that. Okay. Application, middleware and servers. Servers will give you something. Okay. And middleware and operating system, they are like the one which provides you the access to the applications or outside the applications. Okay. Now we're seeing the Azure and GCP and AWS. I'll be showing you a little bit about understanding some major security services. I mean, some major services such as VM, storage, and IAM. Now this is going to be interesting. Okay, I'll show you some things here. Okay, now we are going to move to practical part. Okay, I'll show you how to create a virtual machine. Trust me, it's going to be very interesting. I'll show you how to create a virtual machine. I'll also show you how to balance the load. Okay, and some cloud storage and databases I'll show you. Okay, let's quickly go to our AWS. Okay, so I am in my AWS. Okay, Here, if I log into my AWS account, which you can also create, it's free of cost. Okay, it's a complete free of cost account. Okay, anybody can create an AWS account. How you can create an AWS account? You just need to go to aws.amazon.com. Here you can just click on sign into console, or let me see the chat. Okay, can it be firmware? Yes, if you know what is firmware, then fine. So creating an AWS account, I'll say you anybody can create an AWS account. There is nothing like it's like creating a Facebook account or an Instagram account. There's nothing different. Only thing you need to take care is that you need to add your credit card or your debit card, which will be charged 2 rupees for the verification purpose. After that 2 rupees is charged, your account will be created after the verification, and even that 2 rupees will be refunded back to you within few days. Okay, in AWS. So let's try to see how to you can create a service or an instance or a virtual machine. So I'll search here EC2. EC2 means Elastic Cloud Computing or virtual servers in the cloud. I'll just open it. Okay, here I'll see that I can launch instances. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll click on launch instance. Now let me tell you, an instance is nothing but a server, online server. Okay, now let us try to create a virtual machine. Okay, now everybody imagine that we are standing outside a laptop shop and I'm going to buy a new laptop. Okay, everybody please imagine this with me. Okay, I'm going to buy a new laptop. So if I'm going to buy a new laptop, what will be the first thought that I'll think? I'll think that, okay, let's buy a Windows laptop, or let's buy Apple Mac, or let's buy a DOS operating system laptop, or let's buy an Ubuntu. What exactly I want to buy? This will be the first thought in my mind, right? That which laptop to buy. So here it is, the first thought. Let's say I want to create a Windows operating system. Okay, I want to create a Windows operating system, or let's say I want to create a Ubuntu operating system. I'll create an Ubuntu. Now, what will be the second thought? That, okay, I want to buy an i3 or i5 or i7, or if it is an Apple, so if I want to buy an M1 chip or A1 chip, what chip I want to buy? Correct. So this will be the second thought. Like, this is about the processor. We will think this way only, right? Like, I want to buy which processor. Okay, or if we talk about in terms of mobile phones, so what is the first thing we see? That which brand to buy? Is it Apple? Is it Samsung? Okay, is it Nokia, or is it some other brand? This is what we will think. After that, we will think, what is the processor? Is it Snapdragon, or it is like some Apple chip, good one, or what is the core processor? These are the things we see. So here, this is that instance type where it varies from 1 virtual CPUs to 192 virtual CPUs. Okay, and trust me, if I say this 192 virtual CPUs, where it is, let me show you. Yeah, if I say this, it means some supercomputer. Trust me, it's very, 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 very huge. It's 48x large. Can you imagine the size of this? It's 50 gigabyte. Is its what? 50 gigabyte is its network performance. 50 GB. So it's very, very, very huge. It's like a supercomputer. Okay. Now let's create T2.micro because it is in the free tier eligible. I'll create this one. I am not going to pay a single rupees from my account by creating this server. Okay, so now here I select how many instances do I need. I need only one instance, or I need only two instances. So let's say I need only one instance. Okay, I'll go next to add the storage. Now how much hard disk I need? Basically it is not an hard disk, it is an SSD. Okay, it is an SSD. I can select SSD. So I need, let's say, 20 GB SSD. Okay, I need 20 GB SSD. Trust me, 20 GB SSD is more than enough for cloud. Even 8 GB is an size which you cannot finish. Trust me. Okay, so 8 GB is also enough, and 8 GB is the minimum size. Okay, now I have selected 8 GB here, or I have edited it to 20 GB. Now I'll just go next to add tags. Now this thing also I need to show you. See, when you select this general purpose GP3, okay, the IOPS is 3000. What is the from IOPS? Input output operations. If I do it to IO1, I mean, this is 1000 IOPS. If I do it to, let's say, IO2, it is 10,000 IOPS. Okay, that means they are very powerful. You must have guessed it already. If I go for magnetic standard, there is no IOPS for it. Okay, so this 100 IOPS is more than enough. Okay, let's go add tag. Now this tagging is something like if you have hundreds of instances, then you can use this to maybe segregate them. Let's say I'll name it as Ubuntu server. I'll go next. I'll create a security group. Now in the security group, what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow a security that is called as SSH. Now you tell me, where exactly you are creating your system? Are you creating this on your local system or are you creating it on cloud? So obviously we are creating it on cloud, right? So if we are creating it on cloud, okay, so I am not going to physically go there and access it. I am going to access it remotely, right? So if I am accessing it remotely, the connection that I'm going to create, okay, between my system and the remote system, that connection is known as SSH. We call it secure cell. So that connection I'm going to build. So SSH is must, that it is needed only at any cost. Now in the source stage, I'll do it as anywhere. Okay. Let's say if I do it as my IP, then it will allow only my IP. It will automatically detect my IP and it will allow my IP to log in inside my system. So I did my IP. Okay. Now after doing my IP, I'll just go next. And let's say if I'm going to launch any web server on it, so I need to allow HTTP. I also will allow HTTPS. Let me just check it and let me allow HTTPS, that is port 443 here. Okay. Now everywhere I'll do my IP. Done. I'll just go review and launch. This is a review page. Now this is asking for a key. This key is like an authentication. Okay. Now what is RSA? What is ED25519? These are types of encryption. Okay. It is going to create a private key. So a professional way or a standard nomenclature of the key naming convention is like you can give any name in the front. For example, let's say I'm giving Ubuntu key, but always add the region name in it. Let's say I am in Oregon, so I'll add Oregon. Ubuntu key Oregon. Okay, just add like this because keys are region specific. Now, what are these regions? I am working in Oregon region. There are multiple regions like North Virginia, Ohio, and North California. These are various data centers to increase your availability. Now, this is like imagine a person sitting in India is trying to access a server which is in US. So obviously it will be slow. But if the same server is in US and India both, so both of them can access in the same speed. So this is like that. Okay, different data centers for good speed. So I'll download this key pair. This is like the authentication I'll be using for logging into my instance. Now I'll launch my instance. Now once my instance is launched, I'll go to view instances. I'll wait and I'll see my Ubuntu server is under creation, right? So this Ubuntu server is under pending state. This will be soon running. Okay, it's running now. Once it is in running state, I can connect to it in various ways. Okay, like first of all, I can click on this connect button here and I can click connect again. So I will be connected to my system. Let's wait. Okay, let's because I have given the IP that is of here, window T. I'll open my terminal. I'll go to downloads folder. I'll see the keys here. I'll do chmod to change the permission of the key. My key name is Ubuntu key, right? What I have done, I have changed the permission key for my key because the key is not having any permission to be used. So I have changed the permission. Now I'll do SSH. So which key I am using? I am using Ubuntu key. Ubuntu key Oregon. Now, what is the username of my operating system? That is Ubuntu. And what is the IP address? That is this one, 18.236.98. So if I'll press enter and if I go yes, so you can see I'm connected to my system. Why it happened like this? That I was able to connect to this system, but not from AWS. It is because I allowed only my system's IP address. But when I'm connecting through the console itself, it is using a different IP address to log in. Okay. So you can see I'm connected to my system. If I do, let me show you. This is my system, right? Now let me show you by creating a website in 2 minutes. So every system is having an IP address, right? In this world, every system is having an IP address, right? Let's say, does key pair name effect on service? No, no effect on it. Okay. Now, if it is a phone, laptop, mobile, everything is having an IP address. So if it is having an IP address, so even this system is having an IP address, and that is here, public IP. I'll open it, I'll paste it. I can see nothing is running on it. So that what I'll do, I will firstly update my system. I'm updating my system. Okay. Updating means I'm downloading the APT library. Okay. APT is the what? APT is the library from which I'll download all the packages and the softwares. So once it is completed, I will install a server. Okay. That will be an Nginx server. Let's say I'm going to install an Nginx server. So Nginx server is installed. Now, if I come and refresh this page, I can see a default page is running. So what Nginx did, Nginx converted my normal server to a web server. Now I can convert it to a website as well. How I can do that? I can just go to a location. If you want to write it down, you can write it down. This is the location where every website source code is stored. Now, if I do ls here, I can see an index page. What I'll do, I'll delete this one. Okay, and if I refresh this again, I'll see the page is gone. Now, instead, what I'll do, I'll create a file, okay, of my choice, where I'll write a basic HTML code. Okay, I'll save it, I'll exit. Now, if I come here and if I refresh this page, I can see something like this. Hello to my website. Okay, website spelling is wrong, but this is how you can easily create a website. Or simply, if I say, it can be a web application as well, but right now it is a static website because there is no backend for it. So it is running here. Now, if you want to give a backend, you can obviously do what? You can attach a database to it. Okay. So if you want to attach a database, so for that, you need to create a database. So let us go into a database and let's see how we can create a database. So for database, we have something called as RDS here. So if I show you RDS, so RDS full form is relational database. Okay, so there are various types of database supported in RDS in Amazon AWS. Let me show you. If I'm trying to create a database, so they will ask me if I want to standard create or easy create. So easy create is the option which will do it faster. So let's go for easy create. So now let's go for standard. Let's see the long process. Now, see, there are all types of engine types that are supported. That is Amazon Aurora, this is especially from AWS side, MySQL, MariaDB, okay, Microsoft SQL, like the MS SQL. Then we have Oracle, we have PostgreSQL. All these are supported. Let's say I'm going to create a MySQL database, which is very famous and common as well. So now all these versions you see are supported in AWS from oldest to newest. All the versions are supported. Now, if you want to create for a production purpose, you can go for that. If you want to create for development purpose, you can go for that as well. But as I said, this training today is mainly focused on free tier. That is, I don't want to pay single money, so I'll go for free tier. So let's select free tier. So upon selection of free tier, it is asking the database identifier name, which I gave database 1. Let's say I'll name it as practice database. Now, every database is having an ID password. So admin, I'll be my ID. Password will be my admin 123. Admin 123. Some easy password I'll give. Instance class. Now, T2.micro is on the free tier. That's why you can only select T2.micro. Rest all are chargeable. That's why they are grayed out. Now, 20 GB is the minimum size that is allocated. You see, 20 GB is the minimum size and 16,384 GB is the highest size. Okay, that is provided by them. Now, I am selecting 20 GB. If I want to enable storage auto scaling, that means even if it reaches above 20 GB, then it should not give me any error. It should not throw me any error that the storage is full. Instead of that, it should automatically scale my server's storage up and it should allow to store further data, but I am ready to pay for it. So if I enable this option, so auto scaling will be enabled. So I don't need it. So let's disable it. Okay, now connectivity, I'm creating it my default virtual network. Let's leave it as the way it is. Subnet group is default public accessibility. If I want my database to be accessible publicly, I'll make it yes, otherwise no. Okay, now security group. So security group, now if I'm creating a MySQL database, so I must allow a MySQL traffic type there. So in my Subham SG, the MySQL is allowed. So I'm allowing this Subham SG. Now security group, by security group, I mean the place where we selected SSH, HTTP, HTTPS. In that same place, I'll be selecting MySQL also. So this is like MySQL. Now availability zone, let's say I'm selecting a preference in 2A. Okay. Database authentication, password is enough. In additional configuration, I'm going to give my database name. Let's say I'm going to give a name like YouTube. Now backup, if I want, I can enable. I'll not enable it right now. Monitoring also I can do. For enhanced monitoring, it's paid. Normal monitoring is done free of cost, even without taking it. If I want to export the logs, audit logs, error logs, gender log, query logs, I can send them as well into my S3 bucket. What is S3 bucket? We'll see this after this. Okay. IAM role, that means identity access management role. So that is something when we try to give permission or when we try to remove the permission. Okay. Now maintenance, if I want to enable the maintenance, I can enable that. Okay. Delete protection, because database is something which cannot be deleted or which I can't afford to be deleted. So I can enable it to prevent my delete protection. So let's create the database. It will take some time to create database. Let's wait. I'm creating a MySQL community database. Creating database practice database. This database might take few minutes to launch. Okay. Meanwhile, we can see some storages. Okay. We saw one type of storage that was EBS, elastic block storage, right? Now I'll show you another storage that is known as S3. Now S3 is known as a bucket. Okay. So S3 is known as a bucket. Why do we call it a bucket? Because in a bucket, we keep something, we store something. So it's like that only. So it is a bucket. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a bucket. It is like a Google Drive. Okay. So if I'm going to create a bucket, I will name it like YouTube bucket Subham. Okay. Now I'm going to enable the ACLs. Then only I'll be able to write inside it. I want to access it publicly, so I'll enable public accessibility. I acknowledge that yes, it is in the public mode. Versioning, if I want to enable, can enable. So versioning means you can store multiple versions of the same file. Okay. If a same file is uploaded twice, it will save the versions of the old file as well. Encryption, let's leave it to default. Let's create the bucket. So my YouTube bucket is created. Here it is. I'll open my YouTube bucket. Here is my YouTube bucket. So now in this bucket, I can see there is a 0 objects. So by objects, what do I mean by objects? If I talk about objects, so objects is nothing but all the files stored inside this. So in Google Drive, okay, in Google Drive, whatever things that you store, whatever things that you store there, they are all known as objects. So here also, all the files that you store, all the things that you store inside this bucket, they are all known as objects. Okay, that is a chat data. Yes. Now I'm going to upload something inside it. So you can store anything here. Okay, let's say I want to store a zip file. I want to store a PDF file. I want to store a key. Let's open them. Let's upload it. So you can see 16 MB is getting uploaded into it, around 1820 MB. So meanwhile, we can see our database, which is available now. So once our database is available, it will have a endpoint. If I click on my database, I will be having one endpoint, and that endpoint is here. So how will I be connecting to my database? Here it is. Okay, I'll do. So for connecting to my database, first thing I need to do is I need to install sudo apt install MySQL client. Okay, I came outside. Let me just go inside it again. Okay, now I'm connected again. I'll have to write sudo apt install MySQL client. Let me install MySQL client, and then I'll just copy this and I'll try to connect. Let me just wait till it gets installed. Okay, it's installed now. What I'll do, I'll write sudo MySQL -h is for the endpoint. So I'll paste the endpoint. Now -u is for the username and -p is for the password. My password is admin123. I'll press enter and you can see I'm connected inside MySQL. Now I'll do show databases. Now you tell me which one is my database. While creating the database, I named one database. So which one is mine? No, MySQL is the database type, but which one is my database? That's YouTube. Correct. YouTube is my database. So what I'll be doing, I'll be trying to use YouTube, use YouTube. Okay, now I'll try to show tables. So I don't have any table. So let me just create a table. For that, I have a command here. So here is my table creation command. I'm going to paste it here directly, and my table is created. Let me just, my table is created. Now if I do show tables, you can see employee table is created. Now if I try to show you what exactly is created in employee, so you can see these are the parameters that I have created. Is employee ID, first name, last name, primary skills, location. Okay. Now if I try to insert any value into it, so I'll be inserting some value here. I'll be just pasting it here, and you can see the value is inserted. I'll paste it again, and I'll change it to, let's say, from Bangalore, I'll make it to Delhi. From AWS, I'll make it to Azure. From this, I'll make it to Mehta. From this, I'll make it to Subham. And from 1, I'll make it to 2. Done. Now, if I'll do select star from employee, so I can see my table here. That is Saurav Singh of AWS from Bangalore, Subham Mehta of Azure from Delhi. So now I can use this endpoint to connect to my website that is here. Okay. So I can connect this database to the endpoint, like connect this database endpoint to my website, and it will act like, now it will convert my normal static website into a dynamic website. Okay. That means it will be having a backend as well. Okay. So this is all about database. Okay. Now let me show you a little bit about, we saw about the storage thing, right? See, it is uploaded. If I close this, I can see it is here. If I try to upload something different, let me show you. For example, let me try to upload some photos maybe. So in downloads, let's say if I have, let's say this photo, or let's say I have this photo. Let me open it. I'll just upload it. Okay. If I'll click on upload, my photo is being uploaded. Okay. Okay, it's uploaded. The name of my photo is, let me just see later. Now, once it is uploaded, now we can do one thing. This is my photo, right? JPG, I'll open it. It will have an object ID. Like every object in Google Drive is having a unique address. It is also having a unique address, but showing access denied. It is because I have not made it public. So what I'll do, I'll just come here in this YouTube bucket. I'll select my object, that is this one. I'll go to actions, I'll make it public. Okay, I'll make it public. Once I have made it public, and then if I try to refresh this page, so I'll be able to see that image. That is a Rafale image, a fighter jet. Okay, so it's like a Google Drive. You can create a unique link for every object. For every object means for every file that you upload there. Okay, so this is about S3 bucket. This is the storage. There is no limit for S3 storage. It's unlimited. Okay, now let me show you what is IAM. That is Identity Access Management. Okay, inside IAM, we configure the roles, we configure the users, we configure everything here. For example, if you see, let me go to the users. So this is a user, okay? Now here I can create a user. I will just click on this add user. I'll name a user that will be having name as YouTube. I'll give it a password where I'll make the password as custom password. I'll give it admin123. Okay. And I will say that you do not require any password reset. In the permission, I'll do what? Attach existing policy. I'll just give administrator access. Okay. Or just to show you, I'll give EC2 full access. Okay, EC2 full access. Let me just go next, add tags, and let me just review, create the user. Now, this is so powerful that you can specifically give some access. Now I can download this CSV file for the user credentials. Okay. Now the access link is this. I'll be copying this link address. I'll be opening it in a incognito mode. Now I know my username and password. I'll be logging in via that. So what is my username? My username is YouTube. What is my password? Admin123. I'll click on sign in, and you can see I am inside a new user that I have personally created. The username is, let me switch to new console. The username is YouTube. Now you tell me I have provided it only EC2 access. So if I open EC2, let me see what happens. If I open S3, if I open RDS, if I open IAM, let's see what happens. So this is EC2 dashboard, which I can see. I can see everything here. What is running, what is not running. Let me go to Oregon where I was working. So even if I go to Oregon region, I can see here that my instances which are running, I can see all of them. I can see this is my instance that is running here. Basically, I can see everything. But if I come to bucket, I can't see. You don't have permission to list the buckets. I cannot see anything. If I go to RDS, if I go to DB instances, I can see I cannot see anything, right? That means no permission is that. If I go to IAM, I cannot see anything. You do not have permission required. So this all thing is controlled by, I'll say, the role that we have created. Now, imagine, okay, I'll open it again. Let's say, okay, let me show you one more thing. If I go back, so there is something called roles and policies. So you can create all the roles and policies. So for example, if you come to this IAM, you can create roles and policies. You can also create groups. For example, there is a group called tech team. In this tech team, there are around, I am using a user named as Saurav. So in this tech team, this Saurav is added. So that means I can create a group as well in which I can add them, right? I can create roles, right? Various type of roles I can create. The roles means the permissions that I want to allow or the roles that I want to assign. I can create policies as well. Like this user can't use this, or this user can only use this, or so and so on. So these are roles and policies. Okay. So this is all like IAM role is a very efficient role. It's a very powerful role, and it's a very, I'll say, important role as well. Because with the help of IAM roles only, you do control things, right? So this is the way you create roles and policies. So we have seen IAMs, we have seen storage, we have seen VM, virtual machines. Okay. So these all are the resources. Apart from that, if I see the PPT, okay, just let me see what is there in the PPT. Okay, one thing I'll show you how to see this load balancing. Okay, this load balancing is there. It's a very interesting thing. See, I have this instance running here, right? Let me open this, let's say like this Apache server. Let me enable this. If I start this instance, okay, if this Apache server is started, I'll go to target groups. I have two targets here. In target one, if I see, I'll remove this target, deregister. Okay, I'll register a target and I'll add Ubuntu server here, include as pending below. I'll register this target. Similarly, I have another target here, that is target 2. Here in the targets, I'll deregister this and I'll include another target here, that is Ubuntu server. Let's say Apache server, different one. I'll add this, include as pending below. Let me add both of them here. The pending below, and let me just create the target groups. Now, once this is created, I can come to my load balancers and then I can create a load balancer. Once my load balancer is there, you can see there are various types of load balancer. I can create any load balancer which will balance my load. I'll name it ALB, that is application load balancer. It is internet facing. Okay. Now in this security group, I can enable my security group. Let me do the mapping first, that I want to enable all the subnets. By subnets, I mean all the availability regions. In this security group, I will add my security group. I will remove this one. In the listeners, I will allow here, let's say target 2. Okay. And then I'll just create it. Now, once this load balancer is created, I will have a DNS. I can use that DNS to balance my load. Now, instead of checking the IP addresses, I can use my load balancer DNS. I can use my load balancer DNS to see the website. Okay. So that is how you do the load balancing thing. Okay. Josephine, this question will be handled by the moderator. Okay. What other question we have? The seminar have, okay, yeah. I think yes, it is having. Okay, so this is all the services that we saw today, right? And that is all about this webinar. I hope you all must have got a basic idea that what exactly virtual machines are, what is load balancing, how you do load balancing, what is storage, what is database. So this is all. Okay, by this, I think you have enough idea now to start with your own. Okay, that is all from my side.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud and DevOps, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification in cloud computing and DevOps by ENICT Academy IIT Roorkee, and it is taught by IIT Roorkee professors and industry experts. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job.